want an establishment that scares them, and I think that's what we're talking about, scares them, that people will be consuming alcohol. I'm not sure how I feel about that, because I'm a very responsible consumer of alcohol. I take care of myself. All right, I'm sure most of us here do, those who do consume alcohol. But when you throw in the equation of the corner as it is, and alcohol, it exacerbates the situation. So somehow, it has to be worked out that all the safety concerns have to be taken care of. Then you can deal with the question of whether you should have a restaurant serving alcohol. You deal with it at that time. Right now, from a safety perspective, I can't get past that.
Interesting where we're going with this. Just some things to keep in mind, and I know there's still some questions. Mr. Delaney has a few questions that he'd like to get answered. The restaurant is in a business district. It's not in a residential district. So to suggest that, well, it's in a residential district, we can't grant a license, that's not the case. Right? You know, it is close to a residential district, but, you know, I guess if you go to any business district in town, there's some residents behind it or next to or side of it. So the neighbor's issue over the liquor license, and based on the restrictions that could be put on, are not, in my mind at least, the issue. The issue goes back, again, back to the safety issue that has been there from early on. It was there at the, in fact, I believe it's the exact reason why the ABC withhold our decision, our earlier decision. And what's changed from then? Not a lot. I mean, Mrs. Digman was present, and she did mention a couple of things. The one thing that was stated by the members of the ABC, there was 2 seating members there, the third was missing, was that we could, in fact, place restrictions. And also that if, in fact, they overrode us, then there would be no restriction. So Carol was right in saying that. A couple of other things she said I'm not sure I agree with, but I have to say that what she said was correct in that, and I don't know if that was mentioned to the board, but that's what was stated by the ABC. So you should have that in mind in the process of making the decision. This new information that came from the chief, I'd like to get a real answer as to whether it's accurate or not. I'm not challenging Sergeant Romeo. I'm just curious. There's been so much misinformation associated with a lot of this as whether or not those would be legal parking spaces out in front of the restaurant. Because if they're not, it does have an impact on the restaurant. Because I think there'd be short 1 or 2 parking spaces. I'm not sure, because I'm not sure what the actual count is today, and that would affect their seating, which might affect their whole business model. So I think we deserve to get at least a answer on that. And then I would like to see a certified plan of the existing parking and what might be legal associated with the front of the building.
And also associated with the residents next door and whatever establishment might be in there. In other words, restaurant can't have all the parking. In other words, there should be I'm sorry, okay, well, some of the associated parking with the residents. I don't know how many units are in there. 3? 2?
2 and they each get 2 parking
Two.
spots.
So they have 4 reserved for themselves?
25 as it stands right now.
What?
We have 25 spots as it stands right now.
On the property.
On the property.
On the property.
Before the 3 in the front.
Does that include the
That includes
resident
tenant
parking?
And employee.
No, but does that include the tenant employee, tenant?
Tenants, it gives 4 spots for tenants, 2 for each dwelling. 4 spots bylaws, I don't need to,
Does that include across the street?
sorry?
Does that include?
Oh, no,
uh,
it does not include any of the bikes.
And he's actually putting a sign in the parking lot on that side of the house that states, restaurant parking only for 118 Park Street.
But right, like we said, if we lose 3 spots in the front, I've got 4 spots that under the bylaws, I don't really need to provide, but we're doing it. So I'm gonna make them up anyways.
Mhm, okay.
And as to an engineered plan, and I don't wanna be rude or out of line in any way, but according to your bylaws, if you look at the first, at the heading, where you start reading the bylaws under restaurants, it states that if I have not changed the footprint of the business, I do not need to do any of that.
No, but there's also a bylaw that says that you need so many parking spaces per.
Right, 1 spot per 4 seats. I have 14 tables, 7 seats or 6 seats, whatever, at the bar, restaurant, lunch counter, whatever you wanna call it, which means I need 16 spots. As it stands right now, I have 17. Plus 4 employee and 4 tenant, so I have enough. I can take this spots away from the employees, and I've got it, because in the bylaws, it doesn't say I need to provide spots for my employees.
So what do you do with them?
What do I do with what?
I'm sorry?
What do I do with what?
Your employees? You know.
Steve, you're thinking.
Well, no, and again, I know what the bylaws say. I don't know what the configuration of your parking is. I don't have any plan in front of us
Right.
yet.
Steve, I
Before-
understand that,
yeah.
but you know something, and I just wanna bring up a point that I wasn't able to bring up. But if you leave from my side of town, and you drive down to Route 28, where all the rest of the establishments are, you have to cross 2 lanes of oncoming traffic going 40+ miles an hour to pull into one of these establishments. Now, there's no safety concern there, and then you have to have your meal, have 1 glass of wine, 2 glasses of wine, pull back out into that busy Route 28, not Route 62, which is 25-mile-an-hour speed zone, pull back out of the restaurant, drive home, and then you know what you gotta do? You gotta drive through our neighborhood. I don't understand the difference, and that's my point.
Excuse me, Steve.
And I have ample parking, what I need. So as far as
So
I'm
you say,
concerned-
again, so you say.
Well, so I say.
Right.
The restaurant's been there for 50+ years. We all know that. It's
Half
now
the
in-
size, and half the
But-
size,
yeah,
and
no, it
and the
has to be
hours have been
size.
restricted, and,
Mr.
you know.
Liacos owned it, and it was
Yeah.
1 full restaurant,
Yeah.
the whole building, the entire building, 1 full restaurant, with a lot more seats than I have. We're not trying to pack the restaurant, we're trying to put my kids in college. You guys are missing that big point. This isn't a bar room, it's not a strip joint, it's not an
I think part of the,
entertainment complex.
but part of the point is you're asking us for something that you don't currently have. You're asking
We
for
own
something
a
that you,
restaurant.
right,
This is a
but
restaurant.
you
We're
have a
not changing
restaurant
you.
without a liquor license right now, and you come
It's
before us
not
and
a change of use.
you're asking for something, oh, it's a change of, it is a change of
It is
use,
a change
and
of
it's certainly a change to the neighborhood in relation to the hours of operation and the clientele you're coming in.
I can stay open as late as I want right now, there's no restriction on me.
Other than, economically, it doesn't
Well,
make sense.
other-
Right. Economically, it doesn't make
Right,
sense.
I can't serve beer and wine.
Right, and economically, it doesn't make sense, but that's a business decision that you've had to make. But I mean, you know, obviously, to say that it's not a change to the neighborhood, it is. Could be, potentially, for sure.
I agree,
You know, it could be.
to some point, but not to the
You
point
know,
where everybody's
and,
bringing it.
and again, the hours of operation, and again, should you get it, I hope you're extremely successful. But again, I'm concerned as far as access and egress to your property.
It's the same
and-
as restaurant not ready to go to.
Oh,
Go down 28 and try to cross it.
I do, you know, and again, to the people's concerns in relation to, you know, having public family restaurants, you know, try the Horseshoe Cafe, try Mario's, try Horseshoe, try Mario's, there are other establishments that are family-run establishments that have been there for years that are very good and offer, you know, fine food. But, you know, but there's traffic signals on 28, there are other controls in place that the state has put into place, and,
I think the point he's trying to make is you still have to pass by, but anybody that lives over there on that side of town.
I have to go somewhere.
You still have to pass by the Center Cafe. So if you're going on to 28 to have a couple of drinks, why can't you come to the Center Cafe and have a couple of drinks? That's the only point he's trying to make, it makes no sense.
If you go down and have
There is no west side.
I was agreeing with you, Neil, on 28.
Other than I'm stopping and parking on Park Street, and then I'm backing out onto Park Street and trying to get into the, I mean, the difference is that there's a difference between driving by and stopping, eating, dining, and pulling back out into the middle of the road in the intersection, when you're parked halfway into the street anyway.
Any
Yeah,
other
goodbye.
comments?
No.
Sean, you still
No,
want
still
to get
saying,
it?
I want to see it. I'm hoping you're willing to, as your attorney has said, willing to provide it. You are coming asking for something that you don't currently have. I think we have a right to see that you do have sufficient parking, and I hope you'd be willing to do it.
We've done everything else that we're gonna.
And you have. You've done a lot, and I recognize that.
So, you're suggesting we table this decision
I do.
until our next meeting?
I do. That's what I would request.
Well, let's see what the rest of the board feels about that. Mr. Wiener?
I would not suggest tabling it, because I spoke my concerns, and I believe,
I would not be opposed to continuing the public hearing, to a further date, so that all members of the board are comfortable and have the requisite information they need to make an informed decision. If it takes another meeting to do so, so be it.
Mr. Yule?
Yeah, I'm on the fence on both perspectives. I agree with what Sean is saying. I think more information on the parking is very important. But my whole premise on what I concluded before had to do with the safety of that corner. And if I think, Sean, you were saying that if there's no parking in the corner, safer, correct?
Correct, correct.
Safer, but not necessarily safe. And the 2 points that I made about that corner, for me, that are vital, is the moving of the crosswalk and the light being there, okay? I also, one of the things that I did, I kept crossing that street at night, okay? That was last night, okay? But I did it many other nights, too, okay? And I took pictures, and I did everything, I did due diligence, I guess is the right word, because I wanted to make sure that whatever decision, I know only 50% of you people are going to like whatever the decision is, so, but the important thing is that I like the decision at this point, because I have to live with myself, and I have to make sure that I made what I believe to be not necessarily the right wrong, but the best possible decision I could make. All right, so I specifically crossed those corners and at night, and it is scary. I will tell you. I mean, I grew up in Manhattan, so I can handle traffic. Okay.
Can't handle Mayberry?
But I can't handle Mayberry. No, but I find it scary because of the speed issue and the angle issue. And the one thing that hasn't come up in the conversations is that everyone's concerned about who's drinking in your restaurant, and they might come out drunk. Or, I'm not a proponent of that thought process, to be honest with you. But my concern is maybe those people who are coming from 28 who have been drinking too much, or somebody coming from Middleton who's been drinking too much, and they come whipping around that corner. Okay? Now, I can't, use that as, I have no substance to use that as an argument, but I'm streetwise enough to know that there are other people that there's a parameter that we don't know about that could be just as dangerous, more dangerous than coming out of your restaurant because they've had something to drink.
This is the same guy that jogs on Route 28.
I jog on Route 28, that's right.
In the wintertime.
So all I'm trying to say to you, so for me, with regard to going to the next step, I think it's an important next step, but my decision's still going to be predicated on what I said
So
tonight.
you would be happy with the crosswalk further down?
Yes.
My parking lot?
Right.
And the light?
And the light.
Now, the light isn't going to happen.
Yeah, the
Well,
light,
that-
I was gonna say, I don't think the state's gonna let you dig up the...
can I make a comment on the proposal, on Jeff's proposal? I can
Yeah,
speak to this.
yeah.
Excuse me. That's why I say that, okay?
I don't think
I
they're gonna
say that 'cause I don't
outside
know,
improvements and all
I doubt if
that, but I
that's
don't
going
think
to
the state's gonna
happen.
let you dig up the
Okay.
state tour, but just the two.
Okay.
So, Todd had the idea to put that there, because I saw the blueprint, the state engineers, I'm sorry, to put those crosswalks in there. Should have been put them there.
Well, comment on that, Bob?
Yeah. All right.
And
Mr. Vino has the floor.
If I may,